I spoke to you guys the other day. It was about Francis Ngannou. It was about his manager. His manager did an interview and seemed like a perfectly nice guy. Made a comment. The comment was, and I quote, as I did the other day, our negotiation with the UFC is not solely about money, end quote. He went on to say, and I can't do this one verbatim, but I'll get you close. There's many other things that we also would like to discuss. Okay. Do you believe him? In all fairness, do you believe him? Have you ever said or have you ever heard anybody say it's not about the money and they were telling the truth? It's always about the money, isn't it? Maybe that's a broad stroke. Maybe that's not an absolute literal statement. So I'm just asking, do you believe him? And if you don't believe him, or I apologize, if you do believe him, what else could it be about? The UFC makes fights, meaning they get you an opponent. They promote the fights, and they meet their financial obligations at the end of the night. That's it. They only do three things. So if you're saying it's not about the financial side of it, are you saying you don't love the opponents you have, which is tough for me? If you're getting matching and parity that led you from obscurity to the king of the world, it would seem as though those opportunities are in place. I'm open to being wrong. And then you got the marketing. Is there something about the marketing that you feel could be done differently? And if you say no, if you say yes to that, great, love to hear your idea. One thing about marketing, it changes all the time and nobody knows the answers. 2 + 2 is not 4 in marketing. Something that will absolutely not work today might work 5 years from now. Something that did not work 5 years ago might work perfectly today, right? I mean, no one knows. So if you've got an idea, by all means, bring it forward. But if you have something outside of that scope, matchmaking, marketing, financial obligation, if you have something outside of that scope, we don't have anything to discuss because that's the only thing that the organization does. So I'm over here, I'm an outsider, but I'm always open to learn something, and I'm not going to turn a blind eye to this manager yet. I usually would. Old Chael would have already told you how worthless this guy was. But new Chael is trying to be open to ideas, and quite frankly, he seemed like a perfectly nice guy. I don't know what his experience is. I can't even produce his name for you. That's not meant to be condescending against the manager. That's me disclosing I know so little about him that I can't produce his name. So who in the hell am I to sit here and judge him? And I'm just trying to be a little bit more mature about this, but there is still a frustration that I have that is hard to keep my mouth shut about. There is nothing in this sport, nothing, that is more kind, that is more generous, and is more incentively based to do a good job and stay doing a good job, to find success and to continue to have success, like the championship clause, guys. It's very special, and you can't negotiate for it. You can't go and ask for it. You can't demand it. It's a policy, and it's out of kindness. And because it was done for one to not show any kind of favoritism, it was done for the next. Because it was done for this division, it got done for all divisions. It is an act of kindness that many people would probably love to run back. Many people sitting in the CFO's office would probably really like if that didn't exist, but it does. And it's a very beautiful thing for anybody who can get it, and they get it through earning it. It's a very beautiful and special thing, and Francis has not had that yet. He's got it right now. He did not get it the night that he became champion. He gets it once he is champion and goes in and defends. I only offer this because it's never discussed, and it shouldn't be, quite frankly. What a guy is making is very private and should not be discussed. But once that guy opens the can of worms and brings it public and wants to discuss it, here we are. Okay, great. A manager will always come in thinking they're doing their job by pointing the gun across the table and saying, pay more. And the other side of the table is always going to sit there and say, we already have a deal. I cannot, right? If I'm running this thing, I got 556 guys under contract. I cannot give you all a lunch meeting every time that you want it. I do not know what you're going to be worth 5 fights from now. I just know that I cannot have these meetings every single time it's time for you to go to work. So I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to take a huge risk And the only thing that I get, because I'm not guaranteed a return on you, I'm not guaranteed wins by you, I'm not guaranteed that the crowd likes you, that you're good enough or popular enough, which is the only two things that move the needle in this business. I'm not sure of it, but I'll make the bet and I'll guarantee and come through on my word anyway if I don't have to talk to you again. And it's not to be, I don't have time. I have 556 other guys I got to have this same conversation with. So I will take all of the risk right now to know that for the next 8 fights, you and I have nothing to discuss. It's pretty straightforward, guys. There's going to be half of you or more that thinks that made perfect sense what I just said. There's going to be half of you or more that go, Chael, that's a little bit cold. Either way, here we are. And this is the way that it is. And the whole reason I bring you that entire diatribe, if you are a manager and you would like more money for your client, when you have something as perfect as the championship clause, what Mark Wahlberg had to pay $10 million to hope for a return for, you are given. You are just given it because of a policy that started before you ever even knew you wanted to be part of the sport. The guys back once upon a time who set the table that were part of the legislation that needed to be changed to change perception, to provide opportunities for the sport and the table that you sit at right now. You don't even know about it. You don't pay any kind of homage or any kind of tribute to them. You're just here and you're talking about me and more. All right, fine. You're not alone. Most guys do. I would just encourage you, if you're such an expert in the sport and you've got such a beautiful thing known as a championship clause and you're going into your very first one, if you want to make more money, all you need to do is bring in more. That's it. It couldn't be more straightforward. Now, there's conversations that we're having because we're both intelligent professionals that we're never going to have. There's words that are never going to be spoken, such as the fact that I do this purely to incentivize you. I don't need you to thank me. I don't need to be kind. I want you to be rewarded for your good job, but I also want other people that are aspiring to be like you to know there is definitely a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow if you're good enough and people care about you enough. In addition to that, in all fairness, you're now going to have more on your shoulders when you are the marquee fight. There is going to be more media requests, and I want you to say yes to more of them. I want you to show up on time every time, and I want you to have a pretty good attitude doing your job of telling the story, which is 5 W's of who, what, when, where, and why. I will do absolutely everything else. This is our agreement. You get to participate in the back end. It's a beautiful world. My goodness, it's just the most beautiful world, but people look at it wrong so often. Jon Jones had come out and said, and this was right after he got inducted to the Hall of Fame, he did one quick interview, and he said, I just met with Dana. We didn't come perfectly where I wanted, but it's time for me to get back to work, and I am going to get more participation in the paper. This is Jon speaking. He was very friendly. He was in a great mood. Said, I'm going to get more participation. Listen to the next line. He said, so I'm now going to need to go out and sell the fights, which is something I've never been very good at doing. Okay, great. Jon's right. Jon's now got a hold of the right tool by the right end for the first time ever. He's now seen if he wants more, he's going to have to build an excitement more. And Jon right now, without doing anything, and the reason this is relevant is Jon has done nothing different. He said he was going to, but he hasn't. Nothing. There was no marketing, there was no media, there was no storytelling, there was no drive that is any different than anything else that he's ever done. Now, here's the good news. He's got 3 whoppers waiting for him. Jon versus Francis works all day long. Jon versus Cyril works all day long. Jon versus Stipe works all day long. And now he's stuck again. Now the well has run dry. In a perfect world, which is what we'll operate under here for the sake of storytelling, that will conclude in 1 year. In 12 months, all 3 of those are wiped off the board, and now you're stuck because you didn't do something different. But there are guys who have. Henry Cejudo, just by example, came out and the way that he was going to do things was going to be different. The interest he was going to drum up in himself and the organization and in his next contest was different than he used to do, and he loved it. It all worked out very well. Colby Covington did that exact same thing. And he got that interest. So when you're in the spot of, say, Francis, and we're just talking about Francis right now, but we're going to talk about Francis for the next month, because he has what I believe to be the biggest fight in heavyweight history. I believe the biggest fight in heavyweight history is coming up in January. And nobody's talking like that but me. And quite frankly, I'm not getting my way here. Nobody is helping with this story. A coach of Cyril, who used to coach Francis, is the only one here doing his job. I'm being hard on Francis right now. Cyril hadn't done a goddamn thing either. He hasn't. Cyril's got a hold of something incredible right here. And if you just want to talk about dollars, for it to make sense, it's got to make cash. Okay, great. But you're in a very unique position, so go out and turn some business. But what are you doing to tell the story? What are you getting people to tune in? What are you getting people to come along the journey for? I am very convinced. You give me 100 people. 100 people at random. You bring them in. You give me 10 minutes with them. You give me 10 minutes to tell the story, past, present, and future, of Cyril and Francis. I will have all 100 people on board for that fight. I really believe that. We don't get this very often. We do not get a story that works as well as champion versus champion. Heavyweights, the most premier class. That is the class of Hulk Hogan. That is the class of Muhammad Ali. They are going to go head-to-head like Warrior versus Hulkster, both with a belt over their shoulder as they walk to the ring. You cannot design this any better. It's right here. Oh, by the way, they used to be training partners. Oh, by the way, one of them appears to be completely indestructible, known as Francis Ngannou, but there's some stories coming out that old Cyril actually did quite well with him in the practice room. Boom, the story works, and off we go. I got to start at square one to tell this story. And then I got to get heat. I got to get phone calls from Cyril's team and from Francis's team, mad at old Chael. All I'm doing here is the job that you should have been doing. You're in here and you want somebody to make a goddamn guarantee and put it on paper and put their name on it? You want to take them in the practice room for hours a day and you want to show them how to turn it over, throw power comes from the hip? You want to do that? Where is the person of your team with creative control? There is no entertainer. It does not matter if it's music. It does not matter if it's Hollywood. It does not matter if it's the WWE. There is no entertainer worth his salt that doesn't have a creative person on the payroll who is helping you with this. And Jon's open to the idea, by the way. Jon said as much. I took those words from Jon. He understands what he needs to do. He just hasn't done it. The reason he hasn't done it, he knows where to go to learn how to throw kicks. He knows where to get the strength and conditioning. He knows how to do a lot of things. He doesn't know that there's creative arms out there, and you must go find those people. And you must then lock them down, and you must put them on non-disclosures. You must make it look like it's all your own idea. It's been done 1,000,000 times. The only person that's ever shared credit in the history of the world is Frank Sinatra. He was great. Frank would come out and he would always say, this song was written by. Frank would share credit. Most guys don't want to. That's fine. If you think you got to kayfabe it, go ahead and do it. I'm not against it. But if you don't have a creative arm, none of this is worth talking about. If your entire plan is just to get across from the table from somebody and throw some number out for some reason to act like you've done your job, you don't have a plan. There is no strategy there. However, the plans and the strategy were put in place by very smart people long before you came along. And it's something in this world that we call an incentive. You are incentivized to do a great job with the marketing and the storytelling, which is the 5 W's of who, what, when, why, and where. If you do that and you accomplish that and you do it more times than anybody else, you will have a bigger fight than they had. Your paycheck will be bigger. I don't need to make the guarantee to you. I am bringing in partnership here. And if you're counting my money, you're not my partner. And if you're expecting me to do everything, you're not my partner. So if you qualify for the clause and you've been gifted, it is nothing more than that. There is not a law anywhere that says that that needs to happen. That policy came in one day. That policy could go tomorrow. It just hasn't. It's here and it's with you. You're in an incredible position. What do you need a promise for? What do you need a guarantee for? You don't have a level of confidence that the people are going to come with you? Do you not have the people? And you may say, yeah, Chael, I'm not sure. I'm not confident that they're going to come. Okay, this is where the strategy comes in. This is where the creative control that needs to be within the team needs to come in. And if you're looking around your table, you got managers over here and you got coaches here and you got a nutritionist over here. It sounds like you're doing a good spot. But if I point to the chair that nobody's sitting in and I'm looking for somebody whose title is simply creative control, if you don't have that, you don't have a team. And you're not going to get to where you want to be. If you do have that, your problems are already solved and we got nothing left to talk about.